Like I've seen The Shining, and it's a I'd call it a psychological thriller kind of a thing. So it's about this. Actually, I won't spoil it for you. Just watch the film. But the way he's used camera movement, colors. There's very bold colors for a horror film in that. There's like these insane reds, these greens, and symmetry. Like you don't really see all that in the horror genre.
Yeah, it's all about dark
It's
and
darkness
white,
and all
yeah.
that. No, this is not really dark. A lot of the scenes happen in good light,
Colorful horror.
very colorful horror. Whereas when I take up my own weddings, I am the director. I say I want to do a film like this. I pick the tracks. I tell the couple ki let's do this. Like I pitch them ideas. If they like it or not, that's a different story.
So do you ask them how did they meet? How
yeah,
did they
yeah.
fall in
So
love?
I think a general I go out on a coffee or like I meet them well before the wedding, and I ask them the story once. Okay, and I make some points. I note it down. I really get to know them, and I become friends with them. I don't talk much about my work or anything. I just hang out with them like friends.
Get to know them.
Get to know them really well, and I know what kind of person they are now. I can assign them a certain characteristic, right? Like, and some couples are fun. Some couples are loud. They both are like they
Playful.
fight. They play playful. Some are very cute and quiet. Some are emotional. So there's a lot of dynamics. So I figure out what the dynamic is. So now I have like this direction to go in, right? You can direct things. You can make something your own project, but collaborate. And collaboration also, I've seen a lot of people abuse collaboration for getting free stuff done. Don't collaborate with photographers just because you want a free
you get
shoot.
exposure or something.
Exposure, yeah. I've heard this term, do it for exposure, right? And exposure is like bullshit. It will never get you anywhere. People who say they can give you exposure, if they really can, they can also pay for it.
Yeah.
So if you're really good at something, don't do it for free.
Cinematography is like a very artistic field, and when artists embrace that thing, right, they have their own definition. So what is cinematography for you?
So I think it's not a very complicated definition for me. It's cinematography is the art of shooting motion picture for me. Okay, and that sounds simple, but it's quite a deep, vast field. There's so many kinds of cinematography. There's so many styles of how they light, how the lensing they choose, the movements, and a lot of people are not sure about like how cinematography and photography are different. It's just that cinematography is purely cinema, right? Like video, motion pictures, and photo is pictures, like static frames, right? So both of them have a lot of similarities. You light kind of the same way. The techniques are similar. Framing techniques are similar. Color contrast works the same way. Color theory works the same way. You use the same kind of tools. But in motion picture, you have two things. One is sound, and one more is movement, right? Not just the camera movement, the movement in the frame, right? Like you can see a smile disappear in a video, and you can realize that the emotion is changing. The subject in the frame is feeling something else. And when you there's a push-in shot into a frame slowly, you feel like you're kind of looking closer and closer into the frame. You're getting closer towards whatever the subject is feeling. So they use these extra tools. Sound. Watch a horror movie without audio. It's not scary whatsoever, right? It's that anticipation that is got from that sound, that build up of that anticipation, the high pitch sound, scary, creepy sounds. That's what builds that experience. So film uses these two extra tools to give that other dimension to it, right? And it's so much more immersive like that, like in that way. I'm not saying photography is bad or less. It's extremely hard to tell a story in one frame without movement. That's a different challenge. In film, you have all these challenges. Then you have to edit and make something.
To get that
to get the full story. I think in cinematography, clearly, like you can tell more detailed stories, very specific things you can explain to people, right? And again, there are techniques. Like I said, the framing, how sounds, like, happy music will give a happy vibe. Very obvious stuff, but like happy music gives a happy vibe. A dark, ominous music also adds. And sometimes you can juxtapose these two things. You could have bright, happy visuals, and then you can put a sad song there, or you can put like a darker song there, and it changes the
So many
context.
variations.
Yeah, variations in that, right? So that's, I think, like, to summarize, I think that's what cinematography is. It has those two extra tools: sound and
Motion.
movement. Yeah, mainly. There's a lot of other stuff also. Cameras change, lights change. There's actors. You need more than models. You need actors.
Yeah.
But overall, as just a
The
visual and
base
audio
is,
medium, as a consumer, that's like you can see that, like, the difference.
So, what it takes to be a cinematographer, like what skill one must have to become a, like, to start with, maybe.
I'm still finding out, but
Okay.
I think if you want to get into film, do photos first,
Okay.
because photos are a very simplified version of cinematography in a lot of ways. Before you master framing, technical shutter speed, aperture, your technical stuff, right? Technicalities. If you come to cinematography, you're going to be a little lost, maybe. I feel that, like,
Okay.
according to me.
So,
Because
what was your journey being a cinematographer? What was your learning curve like?
uh,
How did you really get into cinematography?
So cinematography became more and more mainstream. So I was doing video already, like
Concert
concerts also. I mean,
videos.
I consider that cinematography as well. But like ads and media films and like features, like I shot one small scale feature. It's not a big feature, but narrative filmmaking, right? I started that in the last 2-3 years. Okay, I'm not as experienced as like other people out there maybe, but it's been quite a journey. But what I'd say is I started watching more films. So for me, in learning, it is a big thing is watching other people's work. I am constantly inspired by so many great artists out there. There's like millions of those artists of that, and they're so great. They're so different from one another. So individuality. They're unique, and I keep on seeing work. And when I like work, I save them on my boards, the mood boards, or like I make pins on
Inspiration
inspiration boards, and I keep watching. I consume content, and when I watch films, I generally try to have this exercise where I break down every scene. If I have like a lighting in the scene, I try to figure out, okay, light, maybe they might have put it through this direction, through a diffuser, or they might have used this kind of light, or they might have used this kind of lens, and the way they shape camera movements, and the way the actors have to time their walk with the dialogue for some certain sequences. So I try to exercise
So
all
you
that.
go to that depth.
Yeah, I check out the frames. I see why they chose that frame, or like I sit and ponder as I'm watching. So at first it's hard to notice it, but the more you do it, you realize why they've done
So how
something.
long does it take you to watch a 3-hour movie?
No, as you're watching, you can
Okay,
you can
instantly.
instantly.
Okay, okay.
If I like something, I'm constantly observing. It's not like I'm going that detail every frame, because sometimes the frame changes as you watch it.
fast.
I don't spoil the movie, but I notice certain things, right? And I go for a rewatch later, and the second watch is just for the
Educational
breakdown.
purpose.
Yeah, educational purposes. First time I watch it like
Okay.
a viewer, but I can't help but notice.
So is there any movie scene like you could say like crazy when you watched that, like it puzzled your mind and you still didn't get the answer for it? Is there any
Like,
movie scene
are you
like
talking
that?
about plot or like the
Anything,
visuals?
the cinematography, you don't know how they did it, like, but you were like very
Yeah,
wowed
I
by it.
think one of those films visually was 1917 for me. So that won the Oscar in 2019. So
Okay.
Roger Deakins, he's a cinematographer for
Okay,
that.
1917.
1917. So the whole film is, it looks like a one take. So 1.5 hours.
Okay.
The camera doesn't stop. There are no cuts in the film.
Oh wow.
So there's no cut scene after scene.
Okay.
So once the story starts till the end, they actually have cuts, but they've
But
hidden
it
cuts
looks there's
so
no
well
cuts.
you
Okay.
can't see any difference in it,
Okay.
and it is beyond insane. There's BTS film of that and all that.
Did you figure out the answer how they did it? Like
Yeah. So there's BTS stuff.
okay,
So
behind the scenes.
basically, the joke of the film is the trailer has more cuts than the actual film. So there's no visible cuts in the whole film.
Nice.
So that is one of those films, and visually, I mean, there's so many. I can't. I
mean,
think.
which is top of your head, that's all.
Seven by David Fincher.
Okay.
There's a cinematographer called Darius Kanji.
Okay.
So the visuals in that were very, very striking for me. In the Mood for Love, I loved the visuals from that film. But
So-
other than that, I think if you're a cinematographer, there are some films or directors that you need to watch for the way they make films, right? So straight off like the dome, I think in my head, Stanley Kubrick.
Okay.
His films are amazing.
How it is different?
So the way he shows horror and like the way he sets frames, right? It's a very eerie, dark. Like I've seen The Shining, and it's I'd call it a psychological thriller kind of a thing. So it's about this. Actually, I won't spoil it for you. Just watch the film.
Okay.
So, but it's
What's the name of the film?
The Shining.
The Shining.
Okay, and it's horror basically, right?
Okay.
And it happens in this ski resort in Colorado. It's a huge hotel. It's empty, and there's only a few people in it. Like a typical horror story like that, like a setting, Sunsan Jagah Pe something. Okay, and but the way he's used camera movement, colors, there's very bold colors for a horror film in that. There's like these insane reds, these greens, and symmetry. Like you don't really see all that in the horror genre.
Yeah, it's
much.
all about dark
It's
and
darkness
white,
and all
yeah.
that. No, this is not really dark. A lot of the scenes happen in good light,
Colorful horror.
very colorful horror, and the way he uses.
Oh, just like Insidious, right? Insidious also.
I've not watched Insidious, but yeah, it's not that gloom and doom and gloom, but it's not like a horror story with a ghost involved. You know, it's about a murderer kind of a psychological thriller kind of thing. But he makes brilliant use of that. And another director that comes to my mind is Wes Anderson.
Okay.
So Wes Anderson is, I think you might have seen these Instagram reel trends where they've used a music from one of his movies and the font that comes like his films.
Directed by.
Yeah. So he kind of popularized. He's not the only guy. People before him have done it plenty of times, but he kind of became synonymous to center framing and minimalism and like bold choice of colors. He has amazing color palettes. I'll show some of his work actually. So if you look at a lot of his frames, right, it's all, look at this. Can you see the frame?
Yeah.
So center frames.
Aligned. Symmetry, as you said, yeah.
See colors, the way he uses colors, minimalism, wide frames, and he's more often than not you see these wide, flat frames. So bold, the imagery is so bold. Look at the use of colors.
Yeah.
So he's someone who uses visuals very, very well. And it's very unique. When you see a Wes Anderson film, you know it's a Wes Anderson film. That's his style, right? So, and style is very, very important. You will be known for a certain style of images.
Yeah.
And everyone will have a different
artist differentiate themselves from other artists, right? This style, purely based on style.
Yeah. And eventually, right, like I'd say don't run behind an audience. Don't run saying I want people to like my work or like I used to think likes were important long ago. Now I don't even post that much because I'm getting my work from somewhere else. It's not like I don't care about who sees my work, and I do. I genuinely want my work to be seen by all my followers and all that, right? But unless I want to put it out, I don't put it out because I want to do things I like.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not doing it for validation. I just want to do it because I want to do it. So if you're someone starting out with cinematography or photography, don't run behind popularity or like will people like my work. Even if you're the best in the world, which is a very vague term, because in artistic stuff everything's subjective. There is no best cinematographer in the world. There is no best photographer in the world. It all boils down to who likes your work and not how many. Like it's just who likes your work and why. Okay, and someone who I don't like, someone's work who I don't like, someone might love their work, someone else, right? So it's purely subjective. You will find your audience as you work. The more you shoot, the more you show it to people. So in that way, yes, posting is important. I know it's like a hypocritical thing, but like if you post, you will get feedback for sure. But don't run behind the likes validation that you get for it, because it is very short-lived. Like because then you will kind of start shooting things because people like it. you'll never really
Personal expression.
yeah, you'll never really express anything, or you'll never really figure out what you like or what you want to do, right? So that is one thing. And to develop style, like we were talking, watch films. I said
Yeah,
Wes
that is the
Anderson.
one of the learning,
Yeah,
right?
Wes
Like
Anderson.
watching films is how you learned cinematography.
It's like the best class you can get.
Okay.
But don't just watch it and forget.
Okay.
Watch it and try to decode it. Try to figure out why a cut was made here, or why it was framed in such a way. Why did they play that kind of music? Why did they show a reaction shot for something very small? Like, when you see the reaction shot, it looks pointless. But at the end of the film, that one reaction shot where they showed, that is kind of the shot that reveals the plot at the end.
Nice.
Stuff like that. So get into, like, break down films, if it's doing cinematography, break down the films, and see, like, at the base of it, right? What is there? Like, why? Ask why every time you see something. And if you don't understand it, keep asking whys, and Google it, ask people. You'll eventually figure out why things are done a
So
certain way.
generally, be curious.
Be curious. Being curious is the main thing. And YouTube is, I can't tell you how much YouTube has changed my life. I have a career because I had an internet access with YouTube on it, like, and it changed. Like, there's so much content for free, and now though it is at a level where there's so much media production content coming out. You could, like, it's like going to film school in a way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the only thing is, there's no syllabus for you. You have to make your own syllabus, and you have to figure out what you want to do. And as projects come, you watch YouTube tutorials, you shoot, you make mistakes, figure out how to fix those mistakes by watching more YouTube videos, make more mistakes. The circle continues. But at the end, it comes down to you becoming a better filmmaker. And I also noticed in my career path, right, the YouTube way of learning, it's not always smooth, or like there's no upward trajectory. You'll be stagnant for a while, where you don't know what to do, like new things, right? You don't know what to do next. So until that idea flashes, keep doing what you want, what you know already. And even if it is getting boring, try to mix things up. Repetition is, I think, most art forms, right? Repetition is what makes that output better. It makes it more refined. So just keep practicing, and when you make mistakes, right, sometimes you learn things, and you don't use it for that project. Let's say I learned a new effect by accident. I clicked on some setting, it changed, and a new effect has come, and it is of no use for me on that project. But a lot of the times, that effect has gone and helped me 2 years later, 3 years later. That time I done it accidentally, but I knew how I did it, right? Maybe if it didn't help you now, it is going to come back and help you later on. So don't think of any futile. There's no futile experiences in learning. Like, you learn, it's either useful at that moment, or it's going to be useful in the future. So just look at it that way. And YouTube, the way the YouTube thing, the YouTube model of learning, right? It's all trial and error. Like I said, there's no
Consumption is
upward.
not just enough. You have to experiment what you just saw.
Yeah, I know a lot of people just see a lot of things and
Forget it.
or they say I want to do, but they never go and try it. And I say, go out and try it. Like, if you don't try, you'll not know what can go wrong.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Like, I don't know about everything about cinematography yet. Yet is the keyword. I want to know everything. Like, I want to eventually
That's the
get
first thing in learning.
Yeah.
You should feel like you don't know nothing.
Nothing.
Like,
Yeah. So, and just be open. Even if and so many of the times, there are some basic techniques. Like, after 2-3 years after I started editing, right, where I was very comfortable editing, I went and I saw basic stuff like how to organize your files, how to reorganize your folders, like, make it efficient. And that's such a basic thing. I should do it my own way. And I was doing it so badly until I saw the videos 3 years later. I'm like, this is so much easier. Like, why didn't I see this?
Yeah,
earlier?
efficiency is the key later.
Yeah,
after
later on.
you're done with
So
the
your process, it can always become better. It's just that you have to go revisit some obvious things also. If you go relearn it, it's going to help you a lot in the long run.
So let's talk about style. So cinematography, as we told, I mean, it's a subjective. It need not be the case that everybody loves your work,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So, and it all depends on the style. Like, people will like style. and every cinematographer's work is different from each other because of style.
Yes.
And like, how important is this style, first thing, and how do you create a style?
So first question is pretty nice. Like why style is important and like it if you as an artist, I think you want to make a mark some way or the other, right? You want your work to be recognized. I think every artist has it. It's not a bad show off kind of thing. It's just out of pride. Like you've done something and you wanted to stand out. You want people to remember it. So if you do something new or like if you find a visual style that is different to stand out, it's basically to stand out, right? But standing out is not always necessarily good also. Like in a, let's say in a film, if your visuals are so good and the acting, the direction, everything is
Doesn't
not on
match up to
doesn't
that.
match up to the cinematography or vice versa, everything else is great, cinematography is bad, it's going to cause this weird thing for the audience where they feel like, you know what, visuals are great but like the acting is not on point. Like so for me in filmmaking, nothing should stand out. For me, film is one story. It's like all departments are coming together. The director is doing this directing thing. The actors are doing acting. Like everyone is doing their bit to perfection. Okay, and if it stands out, I feel as a cinematographer, if I feel like my visuals have stood out, that means I have not
Done a good job.
done a good job. It might be beautiful visuals, but it's not helped the story, then it is pointless. Right. So find a style that is that suits the story you want to tell. You can't have the same treatment for everything. You have to switch things up when you're doing, let's say, documentaries versus film, like mass films, or doing like a realistic small town story film or doing a superhero film. So you need to have different styles. You can't light everything the same way or shoot it the same way. It is very specific, right? And don't get stuck up on style, right?
Keep changing
Yeah,
your
it's a
style.
two-edged sword, I would say. Like so it can give you an identity also, but that identity can trap you. If your audience forms, let's say I do only car photography, right? And the audience I gather is all car photographers. I mean, car photography fans or car enthusiasts or something like that. And at the end of it, like you're bored of as a photographer. I've become bored of car photography. I want to move on, right? I won't like I won't be able to because now all my audience is formed on. I've been known for that. So don't fall into that trap also. I mean, it's not a bad thing. Yeah,
Also,
it's just that if you change your mind later on. So style is an important thing, but don't let it control you. It'll give you an identity, but keep switching things up. Keep doing different things. At least I try to do that. So if you see my work, if you scroll on my Instagram, you can see like an evolution. Most photographers you can see, not just me.
Correct.
But I switch things up very quickly. I believe like in a matter of months, I'm shooting very different from what I used to shoot before. My colors are different. My framing sensibilities are different. So because I consume like more content, I see more work and I want to shoot like them. I'm inspired by that, like and seek inspiration. Your style will come from outside. Okay. For everyone, not just you, all artists out there are inspired subconsciously or consciously by a lot of things, and you have no control over what will pop in your head, right? There is nothing original in the world.
Correct.
Okay, unless you are the first person to invent a camera and shoot something, that was probably original. Okay, after that, everyone has done something. Whatever you're thinking of has probably been done in some way or the other. So don't be discouraged. It's just that you're like
mixing up things.
Yeah,
and creating
you're
own
born in
remix.
this time. People have come before you. They've done and tried. So now what you can do is you can mix and match things up. Like that's what I think the whole art field is for me. Everyone is borrowing from different places, and I'm not saying they're copying. Copying
So
is
what goes in the style exactly? If you break it down, what's the factors you find in
it's
the
your
style?
sensibilities. Like
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it better. It's like what if you go on my feed, right? You can I'll
go.
show you what I mean by style. At one point you can see it in my feed. So in my feed you can see all these greens, right?
Yeah.
There's a certain green tint to it. This was my face before. Even in this you can see a little bit of
Greenish
greenish tint in this. So that is a style I developed, right? That was a treatment I thought that I liked. Like it was matching, and for all these projects, it worked. But let's say I continue doing that for all the images, right? My feed would look one way. My feed would surely look aesthetic, monotonous. But again, other than green tones, other than those conditions, you can't really create anything new. Now, let's say I was put in a place where it is in the afternoon. The shot is supposed to happen in an afternoon, bright lights and all that. I can't use the same tone in these places because these are all early morning shots, misty, moody stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so as a cinematographer, especially, right, you need to be versatile. Like whatever conditions, whatever the story needs, or whatever you're showing, that has to be shown in a certain way that the director will imagine, or if you're the director yourself, you will have a visual. So to match the visuals in your head and to get it out right, you need to have versatility. You need to have like, you need to shoot in a range of conditions. You can't say I only do this, I only do that. You can, but you'll be stuck there. Like if you want to grow, if you want to learn more things, it's not going to work out. So finding your style is a very personal experience.
Okay. It also depends on your life experiences,
Yes,
no?
100%.
Like if you had a
100%.
breakup, you would have a different style.
Yeah.
Like some emotional control also in that.
If you're in a bad mood, if you're angry towards something, probably something that has rage will probably resonate with you as a creator, right? So you're more likely to make something of that sort.
Correct. Even artists, songwriters do the same. Like
so many songs have come from heartbreak. So many songs have come out of happiness. Like for every emotion, I think films and songs have something to offer, right?
Correct.
So, and style, I can't really comment a lot on it. Like as I said, like it's a very personal experience.
Correct.
There's no one way to find your style. But for me, what has helped is looking at other people's work, practicing, just do it again and again and again. And when you learn, remember things that you've learned, even if you don't use it at that point, it will come back later. And those things, right, they help you develop a style when you come back later.
Yeah.
So if sometimes the timing is not right for you to use it, the time will come, and if you have that skill,
that also matters, the timing. Right?
So sometimes you can have all the skill sets you want, the timing won't be right. You won't get the opportunity when you want it, and that's the thing. So all that, I think it's also very luck specific. You need a lot of luck also. Luck is a very evident, like an evident thing. I think a lot of people don't like saying they're lucky, or like even I used to irk on that word, saying when people used to say you're lucky that you get to travel and all that. Let's say you have the greatest portfolio in the world, but like it's a hypothetical situation, but you have the best work in the world, but nobody knows you work, right? Like nobody knows you're a cinematographer, or they don't know where you worked, what you've done. So putting yourself out there is also important. And if you just sit at home saying when my time comes, this will happen, that is also wrong. But you need to be at a certain place at a certain time for things to happen. And that you can't plan. You can only put in your work and hope to make it. That's it.
So now what's your style? How does it look like?
I have not had my recent uploads,
like white spaces.
Yeah. I think I would describe this as my current style.
Nice. So, you deal with that moment. There's a time lapse kind of thing, like this one.
So yeah, this is like a trail I've done, but I'm talking about the lighting and the tone, right? So these were visuals I did for my friend Frizzle D'Souza. She's an indie singer. So she dropped a EP last year, and I did visuals for that. So there are 4 songs.
These are album covers or something?
Yeah, these are all album covers. So
nice.
these are the album covers. So
how did you get that effect?
So that's the trails behind, right? That's basically these are separate shots. So this is one photo.
Okay.
This is one photo, and she's sitting. That is one photo. There are 3 photos, and I use something called shutter drag effect. Okay, so it's a slow shutter effect. So you reduce your shutter speed to, I don't remember how much this was. Probably like a quarter of a second or a half a second or something, or a second maybe. So in that second, whenever she moves, right, it leaves a trail. So that's the path in which her body went, and that left an outline. And I just, in Photoshop later on, I put it on different layers, masked it out, and just put it in these areas.
So what's the artistic connection to that style, to her intention, like, a music album? Yeah,
so if you need to listen to the songs to figure it out. So there's a lot of different moods in that album. So there's a tinge of sadness. So she's an indie music artist. So in that album there is um, about there's stuff about heartbreak. There's stuff about being unrest. Like there's unrest in a little bit of the emotion. There is also love, like adoring someone. So, but a lot of like there's a bunch of songs that are sad. Okay, and I wanted to show unrest and like
through those
yeah,
motions.
different. It's like different alter egos of herself, and she's sitting like this is how she looks like in reality, but inside, like in her head, she has
Got it.
unrest. There's another like it's like a
Okay.
spirit
Now
kind of
I
a
feel
thing.
like there's a saying, no, in Greek, men suffer more in imagination than in reality.
Yeah, maybe yeah.
It's like,
So something like that, like to this is internal. This is
got it.
like it's like an internal
Oh,
representation. At least that's what.
nice.
And me and Frizzle had a lot of discussion regarding this.
Okay.
She's not only a singer, but she's a fantastic artist. Okay, she draws. She's an architect,
Okay.
and she has like great sensibilities when it comes to art. So me and her had a lot of discussions
On designing album.
on designing the album covers, what it meant. So everything had a purpose, right? And just as easily, this is a love song. So I think you can see a lighter mood
Yeah,
compared to that, right? So this is
Daydreaming.
yeah, this is how easily like the song talks about how easy it is to be in love with someone, right? Like with that person for you, right? And see the light smile and very minimal stuff, and she's sitting and wondering, like
Yeah.
she's lost in thought, talking like thinking about that guy or like that partner, right? So this is a very simple cover. So the hills know of you. This is another song she wrote, and it's about heartbreak basically.
Okay.
So she told me about this story. One of her friends. Okay, so the title of the EP and one song in it is called "The Hills Know of You."
Okay.
So it was inspired by a friend who I think he had a heartbreak. I think he broke up with his partner or something, and he traveled to some hill station. I'm not sure, Leh Ladakh or something like that. And there, for some reason, he felt like screaming her name out into the mountains. This is a real story. This is what she told me.
Okay.
And that person told that story to her once she came back, and she thought like that's such a I don't know, such a odd or not odd, like a very different
Unusual.
thing. Yeah, it shows how much he was missing her or like whatever he was feeling something, and he didn't have anybody around to tell them there. Like it's in the middle of nowhere, so he screamed out the name. So she's like, the hills know of you, like the name.
Wow.
So here in the background, if you see, right, so there's a collage of stuff and also there's a mountain here, and there's one photo that she's been removed. Okay, if you see it. So that is a photo, like it's very subtle this thing. So the photo is here. It's a photo of a couple.
Oh,
So she's removed that like
got it.
out of angst, saying I don't want this anymore. I don't know if anybody noticed or not, but we
Yeah,
wanted
that's
to
what.
we wanted to
So
go.
deep it is.
Yeah,
Nice.
so that is one thing. Yeah, this was another thing. I didn't. This had no cover art as such. This was for Spotify. We did
The profile of the artist.
yeah. No. This is another song. It is. I forgot the name of this track. Frizzle is gonna kill me. But yeah, this is another. I think by the look of it only, you can see it's a gloomier song where she said, okay.
Is
And
it rain outside or
yeah,
something?
okay. It's called Maybe Tomorrow. I remembered.
Okay.
Frizzle, I remembered. It's Maybe Tomorrow. And so Maybe Tomorrow is about the song that she's hoping maybe tomorrow will be a better day than today. And
It's
she's
about
waiting.
hope. Huh?
It's about hope in a way. And it's not just hope, it's also a little dark. Like it's hope and hopelessness. That's I think my interpretation of the song.
Optimism or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, but like it's not in an optimistic tone. If you listen to the music, it's kind of gloomy. So I wanted to go with the gloomy visual. So I hazed out the room, and she's sitting in this candlelight alone by this table, and she's waiting for it, like waiting for whatever tomorrow to come. So that's pretty much it. But I think currently, if you ask me, my style is something like this, where I want to maintain some realism.
Okay.
It shouldn't look, it shouldn't be obvious where I lit from or like how I lit it. But I want it to look good. Like just framing is not, I'm trying to focus a lot more on lighting and colors and that's been the growth. Like that's where I was lacking behind, I felt, and I've been trying to do more and more stuff.
So now you are focusing on lighting and
Yeah.
colors. Okay. Interesting.
And lighting is probably the most important thing for a photographer or cinematographer. Light is everything, right?
And even cinematography is basically you are playing with light, right?
Yeah,
Something
it is. It is literally playing with light, and yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Light crafts everything in your scene, and how you use light. Like the presence of light is as important as the absence of light also. Like where you put light is important. Like, you know.
So what and all have you done in cinematography? Like there are so many avenues in cinematography.
Yeah. So I've been mainly doing music videos,
Okay.
ad films, and I shot sport for Matrix Fight Night, which is an MMA promotion in India.
Okay.
So I shot 5 seasons for them,
Okay.
and then I've done a couple of shots and one feature, very small scale feature.
Model shoots.
I've done fashion films.
Fashion films.
Yeah. So we could watch some of the stuff I've done.
Yeah, let's go.
And I have screen grabs for the others, I think.
So this is a fashion shoot, right?
Yeah.
You ended it really well with that crow, like perfect.
Yeah. I just got that B-roll shot.
So who directs the cinema? You only do the direction? Or?
Yeah, so these films I have. So I teamed up with my friend Prathviraj Shastry. She's also from Bangalore, currently in Bangalore. So it was that the theme for the shoot was her idea.
Okay.
So she wanted to do something by the beach.
Okay.
And then Maithili, the label who supplied the clothes, right?
Okay.
Her and Prajna, the stylist. So Prarthane got in touch with all of them. She told me about the concept, so I told her go ahead. Like I'd want to pitch in and all that, and she came up with a mood for it, basically, right? And then we started doing like mood boards and figuring out what we wanted to do, location and all. We kind of decided on the go, and we basically got that whole team together, models, everything. So without Prarthana, that video wouldn't be possible. But we also, what we did is she did photos, I did video, and the photos from her set look a little different color wise. It's the same setting, literally the same place we've shot.
But mood wise is different.
Mood wise, it's different. Okay, that's her style versus my style. How I saw the same place versus her. So that's also an interesting exercise. And here's another project. This I did on my own. This is one of my earlier fashion films.
Fashion only.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the brand?
No, this is just I collaborated with my friend.
Smell the flowers, felt empty now for hours. Lost my power. I can't smell the flowers. I'm sick of all these towers. Think I done too many downers. Hard to
Wow,
see
that's
the
nice.
value in these half-hearted encounters. Can't deal with the truth, so we just change the world around us.
Is she a drummer or something? Like
Yes.
she was the metallic.
Yeah, she is.
What we're meant to do, can't hang around, be no fool. Wasting time, just getting high.
So when this project, me and Prarthana collaborated together. But this is something, these visuals I wanted to do streetwear and all that. So we did both these shoots on 2 days apart, 1 day apart. So there's only 1 day in between.
Oh, okay.
So I think on 25th and 26th is something we shot. Coming to more visuals, I did like this campaign for Birdsong Life. So it's a wellness brand from Bangalore. I shot for this production house called 100 Feet Films. So I have a bunch of visuals from there. Just give me a second. So yeah, these are some of the visuals.
This is a commercial shoot.
Yeah, and
how do you play with mirror? Like, isn't the like working with the mirror is difficult?
Mirrors are usually difficult because I think, no, I'm right out of frame here actually. So I am literally like on this edge. And it's all about angles.
I think your t-shirt,
Yeah, something is there, right?
pops out.
Yeah, I've also not noticed it until now. But yeah, so it's all about angles, like the angle into which you're shooting. And the tough part about shooting with mirrors is there's no place to put light as such. So this is a tiny bathroom also, right? So what we did is we put a diffusion paper on top, and I hung a light above it. So it's top lit. But
It has come out well, actually.
yeah, so if you can see the light kind of falling off, underside of her hands and all are like dark. Very small, like tight space it was to shoot. And like these are some of the shots from the ad.
So where are those pictures would be used? Like, is it in the billboards or is it in the?
No, these are video screen grabs. So these are like there are videos for this. I currently don't have them on here.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
We just
So I
needed-
just wanted to show you like the frames and like
correct.
what
Just
I've been
the
working.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other MMA stuff that I've shot is on Hotstar. So if you're on Hotstar, go check it out. Matrix Fight
cool.
Night. And
Think you have done music cinematography as well, right?
yeah, music videos I've shot a couple.
Okay. Can you show us the music videos and also on the same way, tell how it is different from other form of cinematography? Like, what are the things you need to consider in music cinematography?
So this was a music video for Praveen Alva. He's a singer from Mangalore. He sings in Tulu.
Okay.
He writes in Tulu. And
Okay.
so he had his debut song called Prarthane. So we shot a video for that. So this is directed by this director called Luke Sidney. He's from Mangalore itself. And the concept is his. Like he came up with this idea and he wanted someone to help shoot it. And I was a DOP on the project and I had a drone pilot. His name is Manthan. So he shot this.
And how does director communicates to the cinematographer? What and all things the director communicates to the cinematographer before you guys start the project?
Correct. So the thing is, the director is the main person in the video right now because it's his vision that you're trying to tell. So the director is going to have his vision, and his job is to communicate it well enough with the technicians. So who's doing sound, or in music videos the song is already ready. So he has to communicate to the cinematographer or the actors or whoever it is, right, or whatever is happening on screen. So he has to find the right kind of people, the talent to do it, and the right style. Again, style comes into play. How he wants to treat the film. So usually directors, what they do is they find cinematographers who have a certain style, and the cinematographer changes from project to project, or at least sometimes. Okay, because not everyone can do all kinds of styles. Some people are inherently good at some kind of stuff, right? So they pick the right choice. Okay, and after once they find that they've we'll talk about cinematography per se only. They found a right cinematographer. They get in touch. They pitch the idea to them, telling this is the idea that I have. This is the treatment I want to give. So they'll have references. They would have taken the frame is going to be wide for this shot. After that, we're going to cut to a close up or whatever the description is. They show reference images. And directors are directors. They're not cinematographers. Their technical knowledge is not going to be as as much as cinematographers. But they will know a fair bit of language.
What is possible,
they
what
will
is
say
not.
they'll as a good directors will know what kind of shots they want, what kind of colors they want,
What can be done.
what kind of lighting they want. They'll describe. They'll say I want moody lighting. They'll say that. They won't say use this light and use this diffusion. That is my job, or a job as a cinematographer, where they come in and they have to bring that director's vision to life. They've shown references and you don't know exactly how it's been shot. Now you have to recreate that or something along those lines. Okay, and referencing and this storyboarding, there's something called storyboarding in filmmaking, where they draw out all the scenes of of the music video or the film. And let's say there are two characters, and now we are in a film setting. Okay, and there's an angle where my shoulder is here, and they're shooting your shot, right? And even in the drawing, they draw it the same way. There's an outline of me, and there's a 2D cartoon of you, basically, like a like a drawing, okay, and they storyboard the whole video or the whole film. Even for films they do it, and that is so that everybody can be on the same page. So the actors also know how much of their face is visible in the frame. The cinematographers know what lens to use, how to light, what shot to be shot, and the video is going to be very closely cut like that. This shot after this shot after this shot, it's all in sequence, right? So if you check, that's like a checklist also. You finish those shots, your film is ready to go. So there's a lot of pre-visualization involved in filmmaking and music videos especially. And music videos, you asked me that question where how it is different from filmmaking. It is not very different from filmmaking because it's literally all the same stuff. But here, sound is also sometimes limited because there's already a music to which the music is being made. So you can't have dialogues, too many dialogues. Maybe in the intro and outro you can have, but in between you probably cannot have that much.
Don't you think it has to match with the music rhythm?
Yes,
or something?
yeah. So it has to be cut to the beats usually, right? You can go without that also. It's all on your approach.
Yeah.
And you have a time limit. You have exactly, let's say it's a 3-minute 32-second song. You have exactly 3 minutes 32 seconds to start and end your story, and it should encompass whatever you want to tell.
Everything
right?
in that.
So in the editing music videos is a little harder, I'd say. By no means is mainstream filmmaking easy, but here constraints are that you have to now reduce the cut length. Each cut should be shortened, and you can't randomly cut every time. Also, you
There's
need to cut to the beat.
Decision fatigue, I see,
And
right?
there's a lot of criteria that comes into editing a film. So even to pre-visualize it, it's harder. Shooting process, in the shooting process, there's not a lot of difference between just shooting part I'm talking about. There's not a lot of difference between narrative filmmaking and this, because it's just getting a shot, right? Then it's the director actually who's telling them walk from here till here, telling them do this, do that, and it has to happen in certain amount of seconds. So to that, I'll come to the next video after this. We'll this is a video called Prarthane. Like I said, directed by Luke Sidney, and drone pilot on this was Manthan Rai. And
it's very important to give credits to every artist involved.
And sound foley was done by Yogi Dolakia, and offline was done by Niket Sharma. So here we go.
I like wait. I like the way you mentioned everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious. How does it feel as a photographer if somebody who uses your picture and not gives you the credit?
I lose my shit. Like I DM them, I ask them, take this down, either give me credit. Because if you can't create it, at least have the courtesy to give credit to whoever has done it. And it's a very common trend I see.
People don't understand.
And it's always upset me. Like
right?
even when I started out, when I used to click photos and they used to upload that give me credit. It used to piss me off. But sometimes I wouldn't say anything.
Okay.
Sometimes I would.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like if someone does it, someone takes my image without asking me, and if that stuff like that happens, I approach them, I ask them to take it down and give me credit, and give them an earful and then leave, because I think it is not fair. And it's not just photographers or something, even artists, right? People borrow songs, people use references and stuff like that all the time, but the credit is not always given, and I think it's very unfair. There's no damage in giving credit, like someone, right? It's their work that they've put into it. So I wish more people did it. And
True.
just everyone who's not getting credits for their work, rage against them.
Yeah. Let's get into the video. So what's the mood of the song?
So what's happening in this video is the song is called Prarthane.
Okay, praying.
Yeah, praying. It's a prayer. Okay, and he's praying to God.
Okay.
And he's asking God to come save us from all the destruction we are doing.
Okay.
You know, from all the bad times. So
you have created a mood board for prayer. Like how would a prayer would look like?
Yeah. So basically, the concept with this video is so Luke thought about this. So for Luke, it is a God's eye perspective.
Oh,
so from the clouds above, he's looking down. Yeah, so that's why we chose a drone. So this video is completely shot on drone. You'll see.
Okay.
And it's a God's eye perspective about this one guy praying.
Okay.
අප ඊන නකෙලඩන්න තරණ තියොඩු ඊරබත් ජගන සුත්තොඩු ඊර මන්ති ගොඩ්ඩ කාඩ සුදන තුවොඩු ඊර්න පුතරඩ නඩපූර්ණ චාත්‍රගීර කාරදියොඩු ඊර්න චොක්ලේන පට්ටුන ඒරුන්තොඩු වරපලයේ කපුලේ
Great stuff, man.
Thank you.
So, like, did you think of the locations as well for this?
Yeah, so I was given the job of finding locations and all that, and I've in Mangalore. This was all shot in Mangalore, Udupi, and Karkala, in these districts, and we shot this in 3 days, and all the locations you saw
Oh,
are
just 3 days.
yeah, and we shot in around I think 42 locations or something.
Okay.
So I don't know if we've used everything because I didn't edit this.
Okay.
Luke did, but I think we have used pretty much all the shots. So and everything was shot on location. So there's no green screen. There is no.
Yeah.
Praveen had to physically go there, sleep on those places, and there's actually a BTS of this
Oh, that
video.
would be great.
Yeah, so I'll play you the BTS of the film, so you guys can kind of see what went on. Ron, how is it going?
Nice.
I've been trying to explain it to you guys from that day. Do it. You guys are like, do this, do that, do this. I'm like, fuck no, listen.
Clean.
I can't see you that carefully. And the stick is here. Most people are going to shoot on the phone. Won't slip good. Famous last words. Put your head up. Sit up.
ठीक है though.
Which one? The top one. Oh. It's a fucking happy feeling when you imagine something and it comes.
Slightly better.
No. This is what I wanted. The
Word is better, isn't it? That is.
word, so it's going to come anywhere. So let's go there.
Nice, man. Very nice. Great work, man. I must say that.
Thank you.
Great work. And also, I was just curious, like, do you really interact with sound engineers, or the one who really gets into the music? It's just the director, or do you?
No, so usually in music videos the track is already made, right?
Okay.
Or I mean, most of the times it is like the songs don't really are not really made for the visuals. The visuals come in later, the visual
Okay.
aspect of it. The singer just wants, because their primary form of expressing themselves is their music, right? So they write the music that resonates with them, what they feel like creating, and then they go like to make a music video. And that's when the director comes in. And when the
Okay.
director comes in, either you go to a production house to get it done, or if you know a director, you can approach them anyway. So then the rest of the crew comes in. So the director chooses if there's actors involved, actors, if not the technicians, all that. And once you, like, for example, a DOP or a cinematographer, right? He's handling the visuals team. He will have something known as gaffers. So gaffers are people who light. Their job is to put light fixtures, diffusion, soft boxes, change the color temperature, whatever it is. Everything lighting, gaffers do it. There's electricians in the team for wiring and, like, for bigger sets I'm talking about. And there's focus pullers who pull focus on the cameras, on the bigger cameras. And there's a DI technician. So DIT, they do card copying, they copy all the data, they make backups.
Oh, for that,
They
there's
do
another
logs,
personal.
yeah. And there's an assistant for camera logs. So it's a bigger team. So the director just chooses a cinematographer, and the cinematographer has his crew who he trusts and who work with him, who knows their his style of work, right? Same thing when it comes to set designers. So they all hire, like, set designer, music director, or, like, whatever for background score. And all these heads of departments, they come and they get more of the crew in. This is for bigger projects I'm talking about. So visuals are usually made later on.
Okay.
So-
Then it can be made in par with the music.
Yes, it can made to fit exactly
Got
the.
it. So this is your, I would say, hobby, or as the exploration of your passion. I would say these
Yeah.
projects,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
music, and whatever you showed the film. I suppose you do wedding photography, wedding cinematography to
Yes.
monetize your skills, really.
Yes.
Right.
So I have, like, weddings are an amazing cash cow for for a lot of reasons, because
Yeah.
weddings will never stop, especially in a country like India. We have so many people here, and the odds of people getting
Correct.
married is so much higher. And Indian weddings are probably the most vibrant
Yeah, in the world.
in the world. The way people spend at weddings,
Yeah.
I have no doubt that it is. And it's just, there's so much different kinds of people, so much different kinds of cultures coming in, and it's a very vast field. Like, and there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of demand.
Correct.
So it's a very lucrative industry. And like all kinds of films,
Yeah.
there are good wedding films and bad wedding films. There are good films, there are bad
Correct.
films. So I think wedding photographers and filmmakers don't get enough credit. I think they're looked down upon by a lot of people.
Oh,
I
is
think
it?
things are changing now,
Okay.
but like, it's generally not a very prestigious thing. I felt
Thing
it,
to do.
yeah, especially in the older generation.
I mean, you are a new generation wedding photographer.
Yeah,
You
no,
feel the
not for
same
me,
way?
not for me.
Okay,
I
back
am
then.
completely
Opposite.
in for it. But I'm
Okay.
telling, like, how people perceive you, right? There's this unfair perception about
Yeah,
wedding
yeah,
photographer,
yeah.
saying he's a wedding photographer, he's a wedding filmmaker, or whatever, right? And I don't think it is that true. Like, whoever is talking, it's usually some of the older generation people who might not be knowledgeable enough to know how the industry is now, like the
Correct.
scale at which weddings happen. It's happening at a scale bigger than anything before, right?
Okay.
And especially the high-end wedding market is incredible, like
Yeah,
insane.
I think you started your journey from small scale weddings
Yeah.
in local place, Mangalore, and then you have embraced all kind of cinematography,
Yeah.
and then you have recently joined House on the Clouds,
Yeah.
the top notch Indian wedding studio.
Yeah.
So you have perspective on both the end of the spectrum, like the lower budget weddings and the higher budget weddings. So how these are different in the photographic? I mean, in the if you were to look at photographic sense.
Yeah. So in the low budget weddings, I'd say um, the the setup, right? The production quality, you could call it, like how beautiful the decor is, the kind of outfits the couple are wearing, and even like even sensibilities, right? Their budgets is smaller. You can't have a larger team, and you the budgets are shorter. So that's the biggest constraint I feel in
Okay.
low budget weddings. You don't have you can't put a lot of people to shoot that wedding, and a lot of the decor is not really like designed
In par with the
on par
photogenic
like
sense.
higher end weddings, right? In high end weddings, the setups are so beautiful that there's an avenue for you to like create beautiful images, like more often than not. Here you have to really struggle because it happens in small halls or like smaller weddings. There's nothing wrong in small weddings.
Yeah.
Surely not. Like everyone
I mean,
according
I'm
to
for
their
small
budget.
weddings. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
for small
so
weddings.
I'm probably going to get married
Yeah,
like that, like in like a small place, But the thing is, it's not very feasible. Like a lot of lower end weddings don't care much about aesthetics or
Not
they
even
don't have the
photography.
or they
They
don't
just want
have
to
the
document,
or
right?
they don't have the money or to make that kind of stuff happen. So in a way, the the look itself, right? It's very different. Sometimes it might be tacky. Sometimes the outfits are good, but it doesn't match the background. There's not a lot of designing involved in it. So it just happens. It's just an event, right? And where in high-end weddings, you have like the scale is huge. Like you're at some of the most premium destinations in India or the world,
Europe.
and Europe, Dubai, Muscat, Thailand, Istanbul, wherever,
So
right?
destination wedding.
Destination weddings. And so far, I've only shot in Dubai and Muscat, and other than that, I've shot a bunch of times in Udaipur and all that. And in Udaipur, especially, right? I frankly feel like so far Udaipur has some of the best hotels
Grand.
and like venues I've
So
been to.
they happen in the palace, right?
Yeah, in palaces, on lake shores, on beaches.
Wow.
Yeah, and stuff like that, right? So the setup is already so good. There's large crews, there's huge props, statues, lights, and stuff like that, right? And it's an insane amount of spending. And their outfits are designed by some of the best designers in India, like top-notch fashion designers and stuff like that. And they all wear matching clothes. The bride side has an attire. They have themes. So when you shoot images, already the setup is
Components,
such
yeah,
that the components are already looking in place. They don't look random, right? And that makes it automatically look better.
Yeah.
Even though you might be shooting the same kind of stuff in both the weddings, it's just that the visual aspect of it is more curated.
Even if you click it in on the iPhone, it looks better.
Yeah, it could look even on a phone. It could look really good compared to like a Chowdhury wedding or like a hall wedding here, right? So it's all about production mainly, but more than that, sometimes it could go other ways. Like if there's a couple who have a very good story, who have a very good bond, and who's open in front of the camera. I've met a lot of clients, middle class clients who are not that well off also, but they've had an amazing story to tell, and it was something emotional. Like they had something to show. It's not just a grand wedding. That wedding meant something to them. So
So you
get
guys also study the story behind how they meet and
yeah. So definitely. So
how it really helps.
So what I believe when I'm editing a film, right, when I'm directing in, so as I told you, like I either shoot for someone else where I don't have creative control. I'm called in to do a specific job,
And then
shoot
go.
and go off. They're going to do the edits and take care of the direction and all that, right? And whereas when I take up my own weddings, I am the director. I say I want to do a film like this. I pick the tracks. I tell the couple ki let's do this. Like I pitch them ideas. If they like it or not, that's a different story.
So do you ask them how did they meet? How
Yeah,
did they
yeah.
fall in
So
love?
I think a general I go out on a coffee or like I meet them well before the wedding, and I ask them the story once. Okay, and
Okay.
I make some points. I note it down. I really get to know them, and I become friends with them. I don't talk much about my work or anything. I just hang out with them like friends.
Get to know them
Get to
better.
know them really well, and I know what kind of person they are now. I can assign them a certain characteristic, right? Like, and some couples are fun, some couples are loud, they both are like
Playful.
they play playful, some are very cute and quiet, some are emotional, so there's a lot of dynamics. So I figure out what the dynamic is, so now I have like this direction to go in, right? Then when the wedding is close by, like during the days of the wedding, haldi, mehendi, whatever the previous days of the event, I usually have the event at home. Like it'll be the event will be at home, right? So that time I go there early, interview the parents, interview their siblings, their friends.
You understand also like what the important people
Yeah,
here and
so
who
we
need-
usually in weddings we have this thing, at least in my team, what we do is we ask them to pick a cousin or a friend who knows their side of the family really well, and we ask them to introduce us to everyone. So I know that this is uncle, this is auntie, and if I forget that
Oh,
this
you guys
person,
get that deep.
yeah, so and if I forget who it is, sometimes there's a lot of people you don't
Yeah,
recognize.
yeah, yeah.
So you keep asking them, and they're also like my informants now. They'll tell me who will talk more in front of the camera, who's camera shy, who will give me good content. It's better than guessing and going and doing
Yeah,
trial and
yeah,
error, because you only have so much time to do all this. So you pick out a person who knows them really well, and then you just focus on who will give you the best content, because time is very valuable.
Correct.
And that way I pick up interviews. I start interviewing them, and I for the I think I do the couple interview usually at the last, because I want to get as much information from everyone else about them, so
So
I can ask.
interview in a sense like you're doing a documentary or something, wedding documentary.
I'm doing a podcast with them, just like how we are sitting here. I
okay.
sit with them.
Okay.
I make them sit anywhere. It doesn't have to be a fancy place. I've done it out on a road before
Okay.
they're about to enter for a barat. And like sometimes I've
Asking
done
genuinely how
genuine
they
questions. Like
feel.
I'm holding a camera, like on Church Street. That's my style. Like I personally don't mind it. Some people do. Some people want to sit down interview and stuff like that.
yeah.
I do sit down interviews as well, but it depends on the couple and if it is feasible. And I'm asking them when they're having their makeup, when they're out of their element, or they're just
Yeah,
being
yeah,
ordinary people. And don't tell them I'm doing an interview. I just go there and I start asking
randomly
questions. And most of the time they know my process. They know he's going to do it, right? So they don't really mind. Sometimes we'll have to comfort them saying, don't worry, like it's just a camera. We are just having a conversation. So you ease them into a conversation. You make a lot of small talk. You do a lot of jokes. So what I do with interviews and with couples especially, right? I play the idiot, right? I laugh at myself. I make jokes on myself, or like I'm very casual. I don't talk about film work or anything, just random conversations. Try to be fun. So they lower their guard. They are a lot more comfortable with you. They open up, right? And slowly you start asking them questions, and you roll throughout the whole time. Okay, and it's about gathering as much information from them as possible to get their perspective about their relationship, like what their partner means to them, how they met, what do they symbolize, what have they learned from them, what difference have they made in each other's lives, like all that stuff. And the more you talk to them, the picture gets clearer and clearer. And like I think even with podcasts, right, you might have seen certain moments where you get these captions when another person says something very striking and like very beautiful, and that becomes like a standing out moment. And all through the interview you keep getting those moments, and I kind of use those as my main points. And in the edit I watch the interviews first, all the interviews first, and then I realize, okay, these are all the good things, the best sentences that have been said about the couple and about this wedding. I compile all of them. I make selections, and now by this time, obviously the wedding is over. You know whether it was an energetic wedding. You know if it was a very sober, subtle event. You know
Then
if
you
it
said
was
the mood
mood board.
based on
Basically,
the,
I select songs
okay.
based on whether they had a raging party in the Sangeet or whether it was okay. Like if it is not a great Sangeet, you're not going to have lot of energetic footage to deal with. So not might as well not use an
It
energetic
doesn't
song.
sync well with the
Nah,
music.
it's
Yeah.
it don't make things fit into places which they're not meant to fit, like, So it's like putting like a triangle piece through a circular shape or something like that, like the games, right? The kids play. Don't make it fit in places where it doesn't. So you know the vibe of the event. So go accordingly, and the song selections are made. And even with the song selection, when a wedding film, you'll have to stitch 3-4 songs together. So a lot of the times I use interviews as a bridge between one song to the other. So between when two songs are supposed to, one's supposed to end in, one is supposed to start, I put a song there, and I slowly, gradually ramp it up, transition. And in each song, songs have structures, right? They have intro, outro, hook, phrase. So verse basically, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So in between verses and hook, sometimes there's like this empty space, or there's like this one, I don't know exactly what, I'm forgetting the terminology, but there's a little bit of a calmer segment where you can add voiceovers without it being lost in the background, like, so you lower the volume a little, add a small sentence that is very funny or like cute or like something that has impact, so that the video doesn't get boring. So you structure the edit like that. So the interviews come in and the whole film is built around those interviews. So for me, interviewing is a very integral part of
Cinematography.
of wedding films, right? Wedding films in general, because that's where the story is. If you don't know what the couple has gone through, if they don't know their journey, then I think you're missing out on the story. Like,
Got it. So that's why.
Otherwise, it's a
understanding-
compilation of the wedding rituals. If there's no interviews, it's just a compilation.
So you joined one of the top, and that's most fascinating thing about you.
Yeah.
Like you being, you are in the team of House on the Clouds.
Yeah.
Would you like to share what was your journey to join House on the Clouds?
Yeah, so House on the Clouds is yet to begin. I am
Okay.
joining October onwards. So
Excited for it?
yeah, I'm very excited. So I don't know, like I've not shot with them yet, so I can't speak about my experience shooting with them. Well, I have met the team recently. I
But
went
most
for
of the
a lunch.
photographers would dream this, like joining House on the
Yeah,
Clouds. But
I think
your journey would really kind of, inspire them. So, yeah, what happened
yeah.
exactly?
So I've been a huge fan of the team since a long time. So my teammate Vignesh, he had shown me their work like around 3-4 years ago, and once I saw their work and like some of the other leading teams in the world, right, I realized that wedding films can be done like this. I never thought it could be done at such a scale, so beautifully, and like with such a treatment, so fresh and so different from everything else. And from then on, I've always been trying really like hard to do something like that, like even if it is maybe 1% or like 0.1% of what how good the films are. I always wanted to go ahead and achieve that, and that led me to, I realized that just staying in Mangalore or just staying in this city is not going to like lead for growth, like lead for any growth. So I started searching avenues outside. I started approaching other wedding film companies in Bangalore, in Mumbai, and I ended up shooting for a lot of people who helped me along the way, right? So I've that was a quite a long journey. No specific instance kind of made a change as such. A lot of people I've worked with have taught me so many things and added so much to my skill set. But I actively try to get high-end weddings, shoot for higher-end wedding teams and all that. And in the end, one of my friends suggested that like he shoots for House in the Clouds. Okay, and
He suggested you to
yeah,
join.
he said there are openings there, so you should apply and try. And coincidentally, I did, and
It's important to have a portfolio, right? Then
yeah.
very
So
good
and
portfolio.
since he was already a part of the
Team.
freelancer team, he had mentioned my name, and they got to know about me. They saw my work. After seeing my work, I guess they liked it, so they
Yeah.
called me for an interview, and then I went ahead, did another interview, and then they liked me. So
So
I got the
what
job.
was your role, like just shooting, or it would be also about editing as well?
I think I'll be doing both. So
Okay.
I'll be doing cinematography and editing. And
So how do they exactly operate? Like, do they in teams, right? It's not individual work. If it's
so that's what
double dividing.
I have not yet shot with them. So I can't
Okay,
speak about
correct.
their working style. I think I can only get back to you a year
Correct.
later.
We'll do have
But
another one.
but in high-end weddings, how operations happen are a little more serious as far as I've seen. There's a lot more at stake because people are paying like premium money to have you cover the wedding,
Yeah.
and they want everything as much as content they can get, right? Since they're paying so much, they expect
Correct.
everything
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
world to
yeah.
be shot. Like
Paisa
so,
vasool.
yeah, paisa vasool, this thing, and with not with everyone. It's very client specific. Some clients expect a lot of stuff, more than what you've promised as deliverables. They ask, but other than that, the scale of these weddings are huge. Like I told you earlier, the venue is so huge. It'll take you 20-30 minutes to walk from one end to the other end, or it'll take you a while to go from where your hotel room is to the venue, and it's so huge you get lost sometimes going from one hall to the other. Like it's some places are like that, not all of them, and so for venues that big, you need a bigger team. So like a local wedding that you might see in your hometown might be like 2 photographers, 2 cinematographers, which is a fairly big team, not a bad team. But at this level, there's usually 4 cinematographers and 4 photographers, or 5 cinematographers and 5 photographers,
Wow.
even 6 sometimes. So it's a
Okay.
12-man team, and with a manager and like this production
Director,
managers, yeah, directors usually they shoot themselves,
cinematographers
yeah.
itself.
So it'll be like a team of 14 people that is shooting a wedding. And
Crazy.
what I've noticed different is we also use walkie-talkies
Okay,
to
to
shoot
communicate.
to shoot weddings
Okay.
a lot of times, and it helps out a lot. It does make a difference because in the bigger scale events, right, in a lot of ways they're meant to be photographed. Like they are designed to give the clients the best photos they can. So the set designers, or like the production who is taking care of production, they design open spaces, and these events usually are very small, like intimate. There may be like 50 people, or like sometimes even 30 people, sometimes 100 people. But 100 people is not a large amount compared to usual Indian weddings, right? It's
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
toned down. So in a way, not a lot of people are coming in your shot. You can take wide shots. You can take close-ups. You can be right near the stage. You can move wherever you want to. And especially when you're shooting with a team and you're on walkies doing all this, you can coordinate better. You can say, let's say plans change. I was supposed to shoot a certain angle. I was supposed to be in one place shooting the groom's reaction, and suddenly my teammate has a change of idea. He can communicate to me standing right there, saying, "You go take another place, shoot from there, change your lens or whatever." He can give me instructions. I can give him instructions. So all that stuff, helps out. And when it comes to making like landing big clients and like holding on to them, delivering, uh more than your skills, it's to a certain extent presentation matters. How you dress up,
How do you communicate to
because
clients?
when the high end weddings, there are wealthy people, they dress really nicely.
Okay.
Like it's all,
So, I mean,
it's high class.
the photographer should drive a Mercedes car to the proposal.
I know a couple of photographers who do, but like
Who drive in Mercedes
yeah,
and
but
go-
like it's not about the brands you wear. I'm saying
Okay.
presentability, right?
Correct,
You
correct.
can't go wearing a jeans pant
Yeah,
and like
I'm talking about the luxury. Like you present yourself with luxury,
yeah,
then
or
they
you
can
have to be dressed like a guest, and there's a lot of things that help. There are advantages with that. Like let's say one of the photographers is shooting and his back comes in the frame, right? You can't see the camera and all, but he's wearing a kurta, so he looks like a guest. He's not distracting. He doesn't pop out like a sore thumb or something, like so everyone blends in. And it's very important to blend in when you're shooting these events, because everyone is mingling with their families, having fun. So you shouldn't, if you stand out, you're going to be noticed. You're going to be like, they'll be distracted by you. So
So
that
it's
is one
really
thing.
important to be presentable.
Yeah,
as a
presentable.
photographer.
Yeah, I mean, the stealth is just another bonus, but presentation is very, very important, because that's how they will perceive you. If you are dressed badly, they are not going to take you seriously. And I've seen it firsthand. Even after dressing well, some of the clients also still don't treat you that well. But at that level, it is very important how you before the wedding even takes place, your pre-production, basically meetings you have, you take them out to lunches, you sit down and talk to them. Like, it's a very personalized experience that these people give. After the wedding, delivering like quickly, like these big teams deliver photos so quickly. Like, the wedding is over and in a few hours you have preview sets.
Wow,
Yeah.
seriously.
So, and especially in high profile celebrity weddings, which I've not shot, like very high profile celebrity weddings, but the photos go out in minutes. Like, the Mangal Sutra is on or the Varmala is done. And like, if you see photographers like Joseph Radek, even House on the Clouds, when they shot Siddharth and Kiara, those photos went out very, very quickly, like in a matter of minutes.
Okay.
And because there's such a sought after couple, no, like their news, that couple is a news. So all that, like the delivery is so quick, or at least a small part of the delivery, right? And it's on point. They stick to their deadlines. They're very professional. Their albums go in beautiful boxes with gift hampers. Some of the high-end wedding teams even have screening sessions. They call the clients and screen it on like the finest monitor and like, or a projector they can. And like, there are some teams who fly to other countries to show the client the film and stuff like that. So all that is obviously extra, but if you can do it, how you present yourself, how you talk, and at high-end weddings you should know how to go mingle with people, and like you should be able to make them comfortable, like, you know. So there's a lot of other stuff involved. It's not just shooting or editing. Weddings are hard. Weddings are really, really draining, but they're chaotic, and but they're very fun. Like, I like them because it's making a documentary about two people and why they fell in love and why they got married.
So the field of cinematography, right? Like, or even photography in general, there's a lot of trends you see. Like, it's pretty evident in the Instagram. Like, new ideas come up. What are the new trends you see in the field of cinematography?
To be honest, I'm not really a big fan of trends. Like,
Okay.
I notice them, but I don't go to spend too much time on them.
Okay.
But I think recently I've been seeing the Wes Anderson edit, the center frame stuff, and usually it's not a trend. It's an audio that goes viral, and it'll have one style of edit, and people for some reason think it's whatever reason it might. It usually is the good ones, the ones that start out first, right? They're really nice, but at the end of it, it becomes something very repetitive, overused, and like, you know, it gets boring. And I feel like it's nice to be a trendsetter. Like, if you create a trend, that is a great reflection on your skill, right? You inspired so many people to do something you did. But I have a problem with people like copying it on it as it is. People just do the same thing in a different location with different people with different clothes, but it's literally the same cut with the same music, and they're doing the same thing. And I don't think it's creative. I've seen this before. Do something. You have your imagination, you have equipment, or you have the skill. You made this video. That means you have all the elements to do videos, right? So why not do something new? It might not be the best video you make, but I still feel that's more admirable than just mindlessly copying something again and again. And the thing with trends is, by the time you've caught up to them, right? The trend has already died. You don't know it yet, but the trend has already passed. And all you're going to get is get exposure on Instagram and get views and likes because of the algorithm. It won't make you a better filmmaker, or it won't make you a better artist, because you're just blatantly copying or like repeating someone else's work. So I don't think that's a... I mean, I personally don't find it...
Trends are never...
Not my thing.
Never chase the odd thing.
I'd want to make something timeless. Like, at least my effort. I don't know. I don't think all my work is timeless or whatever. But I want to go and be able to watch that work 10 years later and feel happy with it.
I'm pretty curious on the new ideas that are emerging in the field of cinematography.
Yeah, so what I'm personally very excited about cinematography in the future is, it's already happening right now. So they're using LED screens
Okay.
in backgrounds
Oh,
to
okay.
shoot sequences outdoors. I'll show you, for example, how it is. 1 second. So they did this in Mandalorian. So they've
Oh,
moved on
instead
from
of green screen they're
yeah,
using. Yeah, yeah,
LED
yeah, yeah,
screens to
yeah.
shoot
This I know.
background. So instead of the traditional green screen method where you to key out the green
Yeah,
screen and
yeah,
add
yeah.
a VFX, no?
You add visuals in the
Yeah,
LCD
LCD.
screen.
So
But this is not portable, right? Green screen is you can carry and go, and this you have to come to this studio and.
yeah, but the thing is, the advantage with this is you can shoot in Delhi and you can fly your whole crew from Bangalore to Delhi, but the scene is happening in Iceland.
Correct.
Okay, and what they do is these LED screens are set up. There's a CGI artist team on set who are like working on. They're literally crafting that environment. We're using Unreal Engine or like some software of that sort, and they're projecting that on the background. And the greatest thing about that is the camera is tethered to the screen. And in that sense, when the camera moves upwards, the parallax.
Oh, that
So
effect.
that effect. So basically, when you move slightly to the right, everything in the background should move with respect to you, right? If it's just a green screen or if it's just a regular LED photo, when you move, the background won't have parallax. The background remains the same, and that looks fake. In reality, when you move, everything, your environment moves, right? So that's why they tether the camera to the LED screen and LCD screen or LED screen, right? And this is going to be the future because it is so cost effective, especially shooting
Yeah, it
crazy
also
destinations.
saves time, I guess. Now, yeah.
And you can create environments that don't exist. Let's say you want a cliff and a beach together in one place, and such a place doesn't exist. Okay. And you can just create it. I mean, it's not easy, but it's still easier than locating that place in real life, sending people there in reality, spending all that money with so much equipment. Here you get into a big like a lot on a sound stage, just shoot all this, wrap the film, and go. It's made production much easier and much more cost effective. By no means is it cheap, but I feel like this is going to be the future of.
Great.
Yeah.
So I want to wrap up this podcast. I think we had a brilliant conversation. The last question, that is your advice for budding photographers. I think you have gone through a lot. We have explored many fields in cinematography, and I think you have, I think, a very valuable advice.
So I think I don't have any extraordinary advice as such. I'm also still trying to figure out a lot of things in my career in a lot of ways, right? But I can only tell what helped me when I started out.
Okay.
Create for yourself. Don't create for anybody else. Like don't do it just because someone likes it or someone thinks you should do it. You have a mind of your own. You're an artist. You feel certain things, you feel certain emotions, tap into that, create what feels right to you. And that should always be your drive, no matter where you reach in life. And more than that, don't worry about equipment. The best camera you can have is the one you already have. Like,
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, the best camera you can get is the one you already have. And that means like gear doesn't really matter. Like to a certain extent. In photography, gear does matter after a certain extent, but to get started out, to learn framing, to learn about color theory, to learn about lighting, how to use natural light, how to bounce light off a piece of paper or a piece of cloth. You can do it relatively cheaply, like, or almost with zero money, right? So learn the techniques and the science of it. Than worry about cameras. Cameras are important. I know it is. It would be unfair of me to say cameras don't matter at all. But if someone has not shot an image before, who doesn't know photography, I give him the most expensive camera in the world also, he's not going to be able to know how to use it. So before you reach big cameras, make sure you have enough knowledge and like skill to execute with those cameras. Otherwise, it's pointless.
How would you price? This is the most important advice they would really get, is the pricing.
Okay.
How should you price your service as a photographer?
As a photographer.
Or anything, cinematographer.
I mean, whatever, photography or cinematography, Your pricing purely depends on your brand value.
Okay.
Okay, it's real. Just because you do the best work doesn't mean you'll get paid the highest amount.
Okay.
Not always.
Serious. Okay.
Not
okay,
always.
interesting.
Yeah. Most of the times you will. I mean, if you do good, you'll probably do well. But just being good isn't enough.
Always. Okay.
You should. There's a lot of non-photography or non-cinematography aspects to being a cinematographer or a photographer, where shooting, editing, all that, the filmmaking aspect is only like maybe half the battle for me at least. It's the other part that nobody tells you about in photography is how to manage your finances. Especially if you're a freelancer, you don't have cash coming in the same amount. Today could be your last shoot and you don't know when your next shoot is going to be. Right? So financial planning, investing, presentability, how you talk, how fun you are to work with as a teammate to other photographers. If I am hiring someone to come shoot a wedding with me or shoot an event with me, I want a good cinematographer, obviously, but I also want him or her to be a great person to work with, who I can chill with after a shoot also, who I can have fun with. And that's the expectation most people have. They want someone who they can work with, right? Nobody wants a weirdo or like some bad vibes teammate.
Yeah.
That's the last thing everyone wants. So be good with that as well. Be people friendly, be a team player if you're shooting for a bigger team. Don't be selfish. You can't do everything alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though you can direct things, you can make something your own project, but collaborate. And collaboration also, I've seen a lot of people abuse collaboration for getting free stuff done.
Yeah.
Don't collaborate with photographers just
They
because you
say
want a free
you get
shoot.
exposure or something.
Exposure, yeah, I've heard this term. Do it for exposure, right? And exposure is like bullshit. It
Okay,
will
it's a
never get
scam.
you anywhere. People who say they can give you exposure, if they really can, they can also pay for it.
Yeah.
So if
yeah.
you're really good at something, don't do it for free. Okay, and yeah, collaborate in the real sense. Collaborate with true artists who want to do something new. If you are a cinematographer, find a musician who does good music, make music videos for them. If you find a fashion designer, make fashion films for them. If you find a model, do model shoots, whatever. And these people exist among you. They might be your office colleagues, they could be your college mates, they could be your school friends, they could be a neighbor, anybody, right? So keep a lookout for everyone. Instagram is a wonderful place to meet new people. Put yourself there out on Instagram. Post your good work. Don't be in the pressure for posting everything or just shoot to post, but post work that actually is something special to you. And no matter if you post once a year, once in 10 years, as long as you build an audience to truly your work, you will always be happy. You'll always be on the right path. And that has always worked out for me. Never cave in for everyone's expectations. Do what you want to do. I think
Be
it will
original,
help.
be authentic. Yeah, great. I think thank you for your 4 hours of conversation. It was great talking to you, and thanks a lot for your wisdom. Yeah.
Sorry.